We just watched the trailer for Mary Poppins Returns, and I'm about to irritate everyone I know.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
That's right, baby. It's time for movie trailer trash. Enjoy.
Everyone you know?
Probably. I mean, there's probably a decent amount of people who don't care. But it's they either don't care or will be irritated.
All right.
No one actually agrees with me.
Let's just start off. This is Movie Trailer Trash.
I'm Charlie.
And I'm Bethany, and we just watched the trailer for Mary Poppins Returns,
Mary
right?
Poppins Returns.
Mary Poppins Returns.
Dun.
That would be, I bet you can find it already, but it would be funny.
With a really creepy child singing version of Supercalifragilistic.
It would just be funny if somebody did a horror version. Yes. I'm just saying, as you keep going, that I bet you can find a horror version of that trailer already if you haven't.
Yeah.
It would be really cool. It's
that
like
would be something that would be worth watching, right?
It's
there.
like the Winnie the Pooh one when they put the horror music to it, to the Christopher Robin's movie. It's super creepy. Okay. But anyway, there's nothing creepier than taking something that's innocent and childlike and making it scary. So, you know.
Sorry, I sneezed.
That's okay. So let's talk about it. First of all, the stars of the movie. We've got
Emily Blunt,
and then there's Lin-Manuel Miranda, who plays kind of the sidekick character like Bert was in the original.
Right.
Emily Blunt is playing Mary Poppins, and from everything I can tell about the trailer and just in general, she's going to do a fantastic job being Mary Poppins. You know, she's going to do Julie Andrews justice, I think.
Also,
as far as the character.
Meryl Streep is in it.
Meryl Streep is in it. And who's that guy? Oh, there was an older guy. No, an older guy at the end that was like, oh, crap, he's in it.
Oh, Colin Firth.
Colin Firth is in it. So there's a lot of famous people in it.
Older guy, Colin Firth. That's kind of funny.
Well, he is older, and they made him look even older.
He's been like the kind of romantic comedy guy for a long time.
Yeah, no, I never, ever, ever have understood that. I think he's always looked like an older guy. And I realize he's much older than me, but I feel like even when he was young, he looked
By
old.
older, what do you mean?
He's got a bad face.
Wow.
No, he's got like a weird,
he's famous
kind
for
of
his
lumpy
face.
Yeah,
People
never
love that face.
I don't comprehend it. I think he's a great actor, but I've never understood how he could have ever been a romantic lead in a movie. But you know what?
Judgments.
British people think differently than us, I guess.
Colin Firth.
Well, here's the thing. In fairness, I love Tom Hanks, but I never thought he was attractive even at his youngest.
Just calling everyone out. Who else do you hate?
Listen, I love those people. I love them.
Who else do you find ugly?
Beauty is not the only important thing, Charlie.
What other movie stars do you find ugly?
Let's not go down that road.
It's too long of a list.
So anyway, I think that Emily Blunt will do an excellent job. Her voice is spot on, singing-wise and voice-wise, sounding like Mary Poppins. Clearly, the writers cared a lot about making it, giving it continuity and making it consistent with the tone of the original, because there's a couple of jokes, just a few in the trailer, that are so Mary Poppins. So like, she comes in the door and he says, "You look like you haven't aged a day," and she's like, "Michael, you never talk to a woman about her age. I thought I taught you better than that." Like, that little statement is funny and like very kind of like the type of tone she would take with them when she was trying to teach them lessons, you know.
That's
like
sexist, Mary
acting
Poppins.
all shocked. It's sure. But anyway.
It's 2018. I can ask about whoever's age I want.
You shouldn't ask about anybody's age.
What's your age?
Also, it's not 2018 in this.
It's supposed to be now.
Yeah, but I think it's supposed to be like maybe, I don't know.
Who knows?
1940? I don't know. It's supposed to be however many years later. When was it? Oh, Sister Suffragettes. So question.
No idea.
Question. When did the suffragettes exist?
I don't know that David Bowie wrote a song about them.
Okay. Well, that doesn't help. Anyway, we'll figure out what time period it is. But
I know that the original Mary Poppins came out in 1964.
Okay.
I don't know if that's when it's supposed to take place. This
No,
is your movie, man.
It's not.
Okay, you're supposed to know all this.
The original Mary Poppins is set specifically in 1910, back when King Edward the Sixth was doing his thing.
No,
I'm so sorry. 7th.
Oh man, now
I read the Roman numerals wrong.
We should just turn it off now and not even continue with the episode.
So that was 1910, and this is supposed to be like 40 years later or 30 years later. So it's let's say it's the 1940s, 1950s right now.
Okay.
So it makes sense. It makes total sense that she would say that.
Just saying.
Anyway, it was a funny joke, and then also, what was? Oh, they said, "What are you doing here?" She said, "I'm here to take care of the Banks children." And the little kid said, "Us?" And she's like, "Oh, well, yes, you too." So obviously she's here because the Banks children grew up to forget all the lessons she taught them. So there's just a lot of little like funny things she says that sound very much like what Mary Poppins would say. They show the whole her walking away and then the reflection of her in the mirror checking her out. That's fun. And then she sings and she sounds wonderful, and the song sounds like the same type of lesson that she would teach. I think that the same people
are writing the music.
Yes, probably. Continuity-wise, they've really worked hard at it, and it clearly looks very true to the original. I think that's awesome, considering it was done so many years later. They could have tried to make all of the animation better to the point where it looked worse. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, obviously.
Like, you know what I mean? I was worried about that.
That happened with The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I know that you're not a huge fan of The Simpsons,
No.
but like, so the first couple seasons of The Simpsons were the animation was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then they made some changes, some drastic changes, and it got a lot better really quick. And then they kept that same style for 10 years, basically.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, well, we can do better. And so they kept making improvements and improvements and improvements. And now, as someone who hasn't watched it in a while, if you go back and watch it, it doesn't even look like the same show.
Yeah.
It's so, like, everything is shaded to the extreme, and there's like 3D qualities of different stuff like that. And so sometimes it's bad to advance the animation.
Agreed. Well, yeah, and I think especially when you're basing it on something that people know and love, there's a certain nostalgia factor, obviously, which I think you'll talk about a lot in this, because Charlie thinks that's the only reason anyone will like it. But real fast,
No.
The music is by Mark Shaman.
Are you sure it's not Shaman? Is he a shaman?
I'm saying I don't think that's who wrote the original music.
It was someone. There was some reason
the brothers
for
or
people
something.
to be excited about who was writing the music. I don't remember who
Fair
it
enough.
was.
Fair enough. But I don't think it. Let's see.
I remember people talking about it.
Yeah, I don't know why, because the Sherman brothers wrote the original, and so that was somebody Shaman.
Shaman. Are you sure it's not just the one of those guys with a
I'm
slightly
positive.
different name?
I'm positive.
With an alias?
It is. Hang on, I'll say it again.
It's like Michael
It's
Scott.
Mark Shaman, and I'm looking at him. Tony Award winning,
Nah.
multi-Oscar nominated American composer. So
Well, there
people
you go.
were just excited because he's a good composer. But clearly he cares about making it consistent with the theme and tone of the original, and I'm excited for the music. I think that'll be good. Now, Charlie, go ahead and let's have you upset people about your opinions.
Okay, well, I mean, it's not going to be as extreme
No,
as
you're
I've been
fine.
with you, just because I like to make you mad. And so...
How dare you? I'm your wife.
So I'm not interested in this movie at all.
Yes, I know that. You've made that abundantly clear.
And I mean, I think it's mostly because I don't really care for musicals, especially this style of musical right now. I obviously liked Mary Poppins when I was a kid because I'm not a monster.
Thank goodness.
But I wouldn't want to watch it right now as an adult.
Yeah, and I think that's where you're wrong.
No, you can't. I can't be wrong about what I want to watch.
When did you last see this movie? What age
I
were
don't
you?
know. I don't remember.
Guesstimate what age you were.
Probably 10.
Yeah, that's
maybe
unacceptable.
less.
It's been so long. Listen, I watched that movie with my friend who is an adult now and had never seen it because, her parents didn't show it to her. She was like hesitant going in, and she was like, "That was a good movie." I'm like, "I know, it's silly. You got to go with it, suspend disbelief, and just go with the fun of it." But it was funny. I think you're forgetting how funny it is, and that's the thing about musicals in general that
I don't
Charlie
like that
doesn't
musical comedy. That like that like the jokes at the beginning where she's like, oh, and you, oh yes, you too. Like that whole
How?
like
It's
little
hilarious.
oh yes, how humorous.
So you don't like stage humor, stage comedy.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's because you haven't watched enough stage comedy. It's hilarious.
Maybe I haven't watched it because I don't like it.
You haven't watched it because you are closed-minded. No, listen. Okay, so Charlie says he hates musicals, right? But he's only seen like 4 musicals, and
I don't hate them.
he's very
They're just
judgmental
not
of
my
them.
style, and they bore me.
But here's the thing:
You bore me.
the humor in old school musicals, like most musicals back in the day, except for a couple of romances, were comedies.
Here, for
because
example,
they were stage plays, and you need comedy.
It's
you
just
know?
a different style of comedy,
Sure.
and like we were talking about this earlier, you're not the biggest fan of British humor of that style.
Of
like
specifically
Monty,
the
Monty
Holy
Python
Grail, yeah.
and other stuff like that. That I'm sure you would probably not really
what was
like.
the movie? The one based on the book?
Oh, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah,
I
that's
saw
very
that movie,
similar.
and I cannot remember one thing in it that was funny.
it doesn't mean that it's not funny. It just means it's not your style. Just like this, like those jokes. I don't think that they're dumb.
But
I just
I'm
don't
saying
like
that
them.
I literally didn't see where humor was supposed to
All
be
right, see,
had.
I was trying to build bridges, and then you just broke them down
I'm
right
telling
in front
you,
of me.
I can't remember the movie. It was so unforgettable. Nope, so forgettable.
No, that movie's great.
All I remember is something about a number. Oh, the answer to the universe
What
is a
about
number.
the whole beginning part with the dolphins?
I don't remember dolphins in that movie.
So
That's
long and
how
thanks for all the
forgettable
fish?
It was.
They all jump out of the ocean straight up into space. That's
I have
fun.
no recollection of that. But the point is, musicals a lot of times have comedy and really well-crafted comedy because
wow.
back in the day they couldn't rely on, great special effects and crazy action sequences. A lot of old musicals, all they had was comedy and dancing and singing to entertain you because they didn't have all the special effects. And so they put a great deal of work into those three crafts: dancing, singing, and comedy.
Most of the
and
jokes
because of that, those things are really good.
that happen in musicals or stage, whatever that you're talking about, are
it's dialogue.
They sound like they should have a rim shot after them. You know what I mean?
But they're done so cleverly that it's not like a lot of times when we do rim shots now, where it's like you're talking like boom,
yeah,
right? Whenever we do that now, it's like to make fun of people,
or at least
but
the ha cha 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 cha.
But when it feels like it's supposed to go there, that means it was good.
Yeah, I understand.
Anyway, but okay, so Mary Poppins, old Mary Poppins, like some of the humor was she was like overly vain. And that was kind of funny because she's just like this nanny and she's just like, oh, let's see what mine says about me. And she measures herself and she's like practically perfect in every way. Like, it's kind of funny because she's a silly person. Mary Poppins is silly and fun. And the whole point is that while every other adult grows up to become jaded and awful, she's not. She gets to keep her innocence and her fun and her love of life. And she gets to share that with people who have lost it.
Yes.
And here you are, trying to take it away from all of us people. All of us people who have lost it want to go watch the movie.
I'm not trying
and
to
just
take
get
anything
caught
away.
up in it.
I'm just
and
saying.
You're saying, would you like that if you had never heard of the original Mary Poppins?
I shouldn't be expected to like something that I wouldn't like just because everyone else is bonkers for it.
I think the thing that you need to do is you need to come out. Sorry.
Never mind. Go ahead.
You need to come out of the closet and just admit that you are a hater of Mary Poppins, the original.
I'm not a hater of the original Mary Poppins. I think it's a very good kids movie.
You said to me last night,
for kids,
I don't think I really liked the original that much.
Right, as an adult.
But you've never seen it as an adult.
We were talking about this earlier.
You just clarified that you've never seen it as an adult.
We were talking about this earlier with
we're
music,
going to watch it.
Yeah, sure, I'll watch it again.
Soon.
With music, where like when you're a little kid, little kids don't like the Beatles, right?
I mean,
like
you're talking like under
toddlers.
4 years old.
Yeah,
under 4 years old.
They don't like the Beatles. They don't want to hear it. They cry when it's on.
And if they do, it's "She Loves You," yeah,
or something.
Yeah. It's gotta be upbeat.
Or like a lullaby, like the very soft types that they have. Most adults like the Beatles,
of course,
and no longer like the Wiggles, which every toddler loves.
Or like Baby Shark. That's more common today.
Like, think about how terrible the Wiggles are.
Just trying to be relevant.
Right?
Yeah.
And how much toddlers love them.
Yeah.
Now, but I'm not saying that Mary Poppins is bad.
No, it's not as bad as the Wiggles. Don't be like that.
That would be offensive
even to me. It was always a different level. You got to realize that there are different levels of kids' movies. It's
not
quality
like,
enough that the parents can enjoy it.
I'm not calling it bad, but I am calling it a kids' movie.
But do you realize how many of the jokes in that movie were for adults? There's no way in heck that any child understood at all what was happening with the sister suffragettes. They had suffragettes marching around, and they sing that although we adore men individually, we agree that as a whole they're rather stupid. It's hilarious.
I'm just saying.
But no child got that. That went over every child's head.
There's plenty of kids' movies now that have a lot of stuff for adults.
Sure. But I'm just saying this is a top tier kids movie.
Like Wreck-It Ralph is a kids' movie.
But it's a top tier kids movie.
Adults can enjoy it. And it's
a
top tier kids movie. Adults can enjoy it because there's a lot of stuff for them in it, but it's not like for adults.
Well, but I think that's where I kind of am arguing with you because especially this one, I think that it is.
This one is, and that's what I was going to say.
It is because it's about giving us our innocence back. That's why she's not here for the Banks children. She's here for the older Banks children that grew up and lost their innocence. This time she's well. I mean, technically she was saving Mr. Banks, wasn't she? I mean, we all saw that movie. So she was never there to save the children in the first place. People,
that
come on.
It's this movie
Mm-hmm.
is very clearly, hey, look at this from your childhood. Come see this movie.
Yeah, sure.
Because because people who like most people, I would say,
yes,
adore this movie and
the
think
original,
about
yeah.
it's a
it's
legend
what they do when
in
they
their
feel
head.
Bad, when
And
they're
it's-
sick or they're sad. They watch Mary Poppins.
Right. And it's like this amazing part of their childhood that is like one of the best parts
It's
of their
just
childhood.
innocent and pure.
And so
That's
them
the
doing
thing.
this movie is doing that.
They're giving us a gift.
They're trying to get you. They're trying to get your money. They're not giving you a gift. They're trying to get your money by any means
And
necessary.
do you see what you're doing? You're being the jaded, cynical person
Yes,
that Mary Poppins is
I
trying
know,
to say.
I understand.
Oh, they're just trying to get your money, or they're giving us a gift.
If Mary Poppins wants to come save me and give me my youth back, I'm all
I
for
would
it.
freak out if Mary Poppins flew into our house.
But
Yes, please.
but I do.
We don't
okay.
even have children. Come on in.
So,
you could be our nanny.
The thing that I was saying to you
Yes.
was that if this exact thing came out right now,
Mm-hmm. Just a movie with singing
and this is not necessarily
weird mixed animation.
This is not necessarily everyone, because there's a lot of people that love movies like this. Like
This
director, this Rob Marshall, directed Into the Woods, which I think is very
not
similar.
a fan. Not into it.
Also directed another musical, Chicago.
Some people loved Into the Woods.
Uh-huh.
I heard one song from it and had to plug my ears. It
And
was
he's
awful. I'm sorry.
he also directed Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides.
Ooh.
And I think that after he did Chicago,
Yes, that's a
that Disney
big-
bought him.
yeah.
because-
that was a
so
big
he did-
popular one.
He did Pirates of the Caribbean. He did Into the Woods. Now he's doing Mary Poppins, and a few years from now he's doing the live-action Little Mermaid.
Blah.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have feelings about live action cartoons. That's different. This has always been
anyway,
live action.
what I was saying to you was that I know you fairly well,
Sure, you think?
and I and I feel.
I mean, if
like,
you've seen
if
Searching,
this-
how well do any of us know anybody?
If this exact movie came out and Mary Poppins had never existed in the past, and you never
Sure.
saw it when you were a child, that you would have zero interest in it.
I would say that I would go in, that I would be
and I
extremely
would-
skeptical.
I would even say that you would be against it.
I think I would
like
be
you were with Into the
extremely
Woods.
skeptical. If the music was good, Into the Woods was terrible. I'm sorry. That's an opinion. That's subjective. I did not like the
You've
music.
never seen it.
I heard several of the songs. I listened to the music. I tried, and I'm telling you, there was a song that was like, should I go in? I don't know if I should go in. Should I go in? No, I shouldn't go in. And it went on forever, and I was like, I would not be able to sit through this movie.
And
I'm
the
just
thing
saying,
about
it was bad.
And so, like, the thing about this one, for me specifically, the whole trailer, like, I thought the trailer was even long.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
checking how much time was left on the trailer.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the movie is just, it's not for me.
No,
and,
it's obviously not.
and that's okay. But I think it'll be boring.
But I do think it's kind of ironic how the whole point is that she's coming to help people, get rid of
It
all the
is.
jaded
It's kind of fun.
cynicalness of their life, and that you are jaded and cynical and refuse to allow the joy to come in.
Exactly. It's funny.
It
It's
is funny.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
All right. Well, let's move on to where, when, and how you're going to see it. Might
All
be
right.
interesting. Where, when, how are you going to see this movie? All right. Where, when, and how you're going to see Mary Poppins Returns. Go ahead.
I'm going to see this movie. First of all, it's coming out, I think December 19th. So it's coming out right around
Soon.
Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see this movie with my sister, probably include my mother, most likely my brother, and my brother-in-law, probably my father. I'm going to go see this movie with my family.
There you go.
And you're not invited.
Oh.
Just
Oh, that's
kidding.
nice.
You're welcome to come.
Maybe I'll go in the theater
Just
next
kidding.
door
You're
and
welcome
see
to come.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Sure, you do want to see that.
That movie looks awesome. Sorry, let's go.
Yeah,
ahead.
that's probably a good movie. But here's the thing, for real. I do want to see this. I want to see it in theater because it's going to be a magical experience. And that's something I never got the chance to do, is watch Mary Poppins in theater because I was a kid.
Yeah, that's a
well,
good point.
no, not even that. It came out way
That
before I was
that
born.
was actually
but I was a kid, and it was not in theaters.
that was
so.
something fun that we did a couple Christmases ago, where they showed Home Alone in our theater.
It was amazing.
And that's one of the things that
I was like, I never got to do that. Yeah. And so I think that'll be really fun. I want to just go and get some goodness in my life. The world is dark right now, especially for Americans. I'm just in a, sad place. I want Mary Poppins to sing to me and to tell me that no one's gone forever, just out of place. Nothing's gone. Nothing's gone forever, just out of place. And just give me all these peppy, happy, nice little life lessons about how even though life gets hard, it's going to be okay. And that's something, too, we didn't mention. But in this movie, it's clear that Michael Banks' wife has died.
Yes.
So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit emotional.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about what we thought the story was going to be, but that's mostly because it's not really the most important piece
and it's
of
pretty
information.
obvious that, she's coming here to save it's the same thing. You're jaded, I need to save you, except that his father was jaded because he thought money was the most important thing. Now he is hurting and cynical, and he said, oh, that was a long time ago. I've given up these silly things because he's sad. And so
that's nice because it'll be a little bit of a different dynamic. Yeah. Instead of he's kind of
crying and sad.
This guy's a jerk because he thinks money rules the world.
I don't have time to play with my kids. I've got to go to the bank.
It'll be more emotional, and that's good. And that's a nice way of changing it.
I think it'll be good.
I probably will never see this, but
but I bet we could talk you into watching it with us.
Obviously.
Because think about it. I don't know if you were there for that. Were you there when we saw Tintin?
Yeah.
I was adamantly against
Tintin.
it. I thought Tintin looked boring and bad, and everybody else, my sister, my brother-in-law, everyone else wanted to see it. And they were basically like, come on. And finally I was just like, fine. And I watched it, and it wasn't terrible. It was fine. I would watch it again.
I really liked it, especially that one scene.
I would watch
where
it
they're
again
going down that mountain road.
For our children someday, if we have children. But I wouldn't just watch it again on my own.
I've watched that scene on YouTube before just by myself.
It's a very good scene. It had some good things, and I wasn't sad. So I think if you were convinced by all of us, you'd have some fun. I think you would definitely have some fun.
Almost every single movie has at least some good parts.
Yeah, I know, except for Mother. Yeah. Sorry, I'm such a hater that no matter what happy thing we're talking about, I have to bring in the things I hate.
Another
so you
thing,
probably won't go see it in theater unless you're convinced.
I probably won't go see it in theater. I definitely won't rent it, and there might be a time where I'll watch it on streaming if I'm asked to.
Yeah. I think if you do ever watch this, I think that you will find yourself laughing louder than you expected at certain parts, because that's something that you do where you go in and you are a laugher. It doesn't take much to make you laugh. You're funny. You enjoy you're a jovial person, let's say. So, but I find that when I'm watching movies with you, you'll be laughing, and then something will happen where you'll laugh way louder than even you expected. I'll see you that you I can tell that you shocked yourself. Mm-hmm. I think that would happen in this. I think there'd be one or two things where you'd be like, wow, oh, that really made me laugh.
There's been times where
Dick Van Dyke is so funny.
Bethany had to pause Parks and Rec because she couldn't hear it because I was laughing too much.
That was one of our early arguments as a dating.
I don't know if it was an argument.
Oh, I was mad at you.
Oh, okay.
I was like, well, because
it was an argument on one side.
I couldn't pause it. It was brand new episodes. I was like, I'm literally missing what's happening because you're laughing too loud.
Says the person who talks through every movie I've ever seen.
I only talk through parts where nobody else is talking.
Where no one else in the room is talking?
No one else in the show.
No, that's not true.
Occasionally they come in while I'm talking. That's not my fault. I couldn't have known.
You get the classic leaning over to tell me something and then turning back to the TV and then turning back to me and saying, "What did they just say?"
Anyway, we all have our faults. Yours is loud laughter. But before we move on to the next segment, I just wanted to say Dick Van Dyke is wonderful and amazing. He is going to guest appear. We can all agree on that. He's going to guest appear in this as the banker's son from the original. So the kind of joke in the original was, here's the banker and here's his son. His son's going to take over for him when he dies, but they're both incredibly old. His son is probably 80. Maybe 85, maybe older. And so now he's so the joke, his son looks very, very old. He laughs himself to death and floats away and never comes back. Oh, God. The banker. Yeah.
He laughs himself to death.
He floats away and never comes back because of a joke.
Symbolism.
And then, and then, so Dick Van Dyke is playing that son. So in the original, Dick Van Dyke played the banker. For those of you who didn't know, That was him in the makeup. And now he's playing his son. And he's going to be fun and it'll be cool. But what I've been hoping since the day I heard this was going to happen was that Dick Van Dyke would play Bert, would return as old Bert. Because the fan theory, which I think they're kind of proving in this, is that Mary Poppins doesn't age. So Bert was likely a kid that she helped when he was younger. Because she knows him when she comes back in the original. He says, something's in the air. It's a feeling I've had before. He knows she's coming back. He knows her. I think it would be awesome if and they might still do it. I think it's possible that they just aren't telling us that he'll appear in one scene as Bert. I think it would be cool if it was like when they go to see their uncle Albert, and he's like laughing and stuck up on the ceiling. I think it'd be cool if it was like one little scene where it's like, come quick, Bert needs you, and it's just like a little thing. That'd be fun. I also wouldn't be shocked if they don't do it. I feel like we probably would have heard of it if they were, but that would be awesome.
One more thing, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on it because I think that you agree with me a little bit.
Okay.
Before we move on to Rotten Tomatoes, is that I'm Lin-Manuel Miranda.
You don't like him. You're not a big fan.
I mean, like,
But in fairness, you have never seen anything he's been in except for Moana, which you did like.
Yeah, I like Moana, but he's not in it.
He sings in it.
Yeah.
One song.
He writes the music
and
for
he
it.
sings one song.
Yeah.
The music in that movie was excellent.
But I mean, yeah. But it's like
fantastic, I would even say.
I don't think that he is the superhero that everyone else thinks.
No. And I don't think anybody else will think that in 2 years.
Right.
2 years.
Right.
But in fairness, he is a good guy.
And it's because awesome person.
He raised a ton of money for her after
it's
Hurricane
not the
Maria.
same thing that I think about The Rock, where I think that The Rock is just faking
no.
it. I think he's a good guy.
I disagree with you on that too. But yeah, no, I think Lin-Manuel is a great guy.
Yeah.
I think he's an incredibly talented musician, and there's a reason he won a Tony before he even was known by anybody,
Well,
from
yeah,
In the Heights.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen it, I haven't heard it, but he's very talented. It's clear. And he's talented enough that he can come in and do a Disney movie and not make it sound like his own stuff. He made it sound like a Disney song.
He also did this
that's
awesome
good.
thing with NPR where they made musical versions of a couple of their stories.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was really good.
Oh, is he the one where the kids in the high school sing?
Yeah, with the cop.
Yeah. That's good. Good
Yeah.
stuff. So, I mean, yeah, he's talented. I get how he can be kind of annoying. Like, there's kind of a
plays,
goofiness to him that
he plays
is
Ira
annoying.
Glass in that.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
But yeah, so you can understand that he's talented, but you also don't believe the hype. I get it.
Right. And I mean,
he's no Dick Van Dyke. He could never be. And I don't think he would even say he is.
It's because
that's just unfair.
He is a superhero in the genre of thing that I don't really care for.
Exactly. But yeah, like Dick Van Dyke though, it would be unfair to say, "Oh, well, you're no Dick Van Dyke." Like, okay. He's like one of the greatest comedy guys of back in the day. Like, he's amazing. And same thing with Julie Andrews. Like I said, I think she'll do Julie Andrews justice. But Julie Andrews decidedly was not going to be in the movie because she said she didn't want to overshadow anybody. And that's a little arrogant.
It's very Mary Poppinsy.
Yeah, it's a little arrogant, but it's kind of hilarious because it's very something Mary Poppins would do. Like, oh, no, I don't want to overshadow you. And I surely would. But she would. She's wonderful. So I get it. And
although
I
Meryl
respect
Streep
her.
is in it. That's probably who they
she's
wanted.
A small character.
They probably wanted, what's her name?
Honestly, as much as she says she doesn't want to overshadow her, maybe she just didn't want to play a smaller role. Like she's like, I'm Mary Poppins, bitches. I'm not coming in. I'm not coming in to be silly lady with the pink hat.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. All right, let's move on to Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes percentages. All right, Rotten Tomatoes percentages.
This is a tough one. I'm going to go with the non-cynical view, with the view that it will be wonderful. I think it's going to get an 88.
Okay.
I think critics are going to love it because critics are going to be judging it based on, did it match up to the original? Was it a good sequel? They'll be comparing it within its genre. And I think that the audiences will give it a 93. They'll go nuts for it.
Okay, here's what I think.
Okay.
No matter what I think about this movie, this movie will get a 98%.
Oh, wow. So you bumped it.
Guaranteed. 98 or higher.
That's fair.
Because people
when you have
cannot,
something like this,
they can't handle it.
It's not just the fans. It's also the critics.
It's equally beloved by everyone in the world except for
fans.
me and probably my brother and dad.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there's lots of people. There's just as, like, for instance, everybody loves football. but there's actually lots of people who don't. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you hear the popular opinion. I
But
know
the
very
people-
few people who don't like football, but I also know there's a ton of them
The
out
people
there.
who don't
it's
like
not
football,
just Frasier.
the people who don't like football are very vocal about not liking football. Whereas
Yeah,
you don't.
that's true.
It's not like you go
Well-
around being like, I hate Mary Poppins.
Yeah, well, the nice thing is that musicals. The thing about Mary Poppins is it goes past the musical genre. So
Yes, I do
lots of
agree
people
with
who
that.
don't like musicals might be vocal about it, but they'll still like Mary Poppins, and they'll still like Wizard of Oz. There are certain things
Right.
that are better and bigger and more important than their genre. And those are those things. I
Or
think.
just like Blues Brothers.
What?
But it's it's
Totally
bigger.
different thing.
It's bigger. It's,
Right.
It's the greatest musical of all
Oh
time.
dear God, people would definitely beg to differ. Most people.
I beg to differ with their begging to differ.
Even if you don't love Mary Poppins, at the very
It's
least,
definitely
Wizard of Oz is better.
It's definitely the musical with the best music of all time. That
you like that style
soundtrack
of music, but
is
that doesn't mean it's
made
better.
of the best songs ever written.
No.
Yeah,
No.
most of them.
No.
Yeah,
It's just random pop songs. It's
not,
not
pop songs. They're blues songs and soul
whatever.
music.
But the point is, it's not an original score.
Ray Charles and Aretha Franklin
That's
both
like if I was
singing
like-
it.
That's like if I was like, listen,
Those are-
Moulin Rouge is the best musical ever because it played songs that I like from the radio.
Those are
No,
two of
it's
the
not an original score.
Aretha
It doesn't
Franklin
count.
and Ray Charles are two of the top 5 singers of all time.
Just because there's amazing singers in it doesn't mean it's the best music.
It's their music.
What do they sing? I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Aretha Franklin,
Aretha Franklin
sings
does not sing
Think,
Respect. Yeah, okay, okay, you're right.
which is awesome,
I don't
and
know
I
that
think
one.
better than Respect,
I don't know
personally.
that one.
And Ray Charles sings Shake Your Tail Feather, and that song is so good.
Anyway, glad to hear it. So I think it's obvious that our consensus is that
James
this is
Brown
gonna be,
is in it.
I think our consensus between me and Charlie is that this is going to be an awesome movie and you guys should go see it.
It's obviously going to be very, very high quality.
You're going to feel good. I think you're going to feel good. And
I
that's
will
why I
not
might convince
watch it.
Charlie to go. Because I'm going to say, don't you want to feel good? Don't you want to watch something besides terrible things happening in the news?
And here's the thing: is that
Just
even if
awful things.
even if I do go and see it, I'll probably force myself to not enjoy it out of spite.
Well, that's not fair.
No, it's not. It's very unfair.
In fairness, though, I did go into Tintin angrily. And I came out, though, being like, okay, I was wrong. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiroo.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. You can follow us on Twitter at MTT Podcast. You go to Facebook, search Movie Trailer Trash. Go to Instagram at Movie Trailer Trash.
Yeah.
You can also review and subscribe to us on iTunes. That's a good spot to be.
Ooh.
And also, you can always go and follow our friends, Entertainment Buffet at Entertain Buffet, and subscribe to their YouTube channel as well.
Chim chimney, chim chim chiree, chim chiroo.
Word.